Hey everybody. I figured I'd make a short video talking about a few different things that I've talked about in other videos, but one of which I had to delete because I mentioned the area that I lived in and that, so I had to delete it. My wife kindly reminded me that I should probably keep that a little secretive, so I deleted it on that very purpose. So, I figured I'd add that into a few different things. 3 specific topics I would like to bring up with you guys today. And here's my little list. I figured you guys can take a good long look at it before I begin reading them off. You can perhaps pause it so I don't have to stay here all day. Anyways, so first topic I'm going to bring up is NASA lies, after which I will speak on non-human entities and giants. Same part. And then the third topic, which I'll cut off from, is 5G and deepfakes. Now, without further ado, NASA lies. Now, I know that there are plenty of people out there that are, they're flat earthers. So they typically take anything that's said from NASA as a complete lie 100%. Or if they hear that, for example, from me, that my grandfather was in the CIA and that he perpetuated the lie of flat Earth, his words here, that suddenly he's somehow a non-flat earther and works for fucking NASA and promoted all this other crap, which not at all the truth. Further from the truth. My grandfather specifically told me not to believe NASA, that they are specifically made to take money and to spread lies. Those are the 2 main missions of them. And they spread lies through the belief system of the American people. So essentially, whatever we Americans eat up from NASA, the world then sees us and tries to learn from us. That's the whole point of it. It's like trying to skip a rock across water. You're trying to get a further target, which is to the end of the actual lake or the pond or what have you. So you skip the rock, the lie, off of one portion closest to you, the American public. Now, moving on from that point. On that note, another reason why that I trust and believe my grandfather is he was mentioning that my granduncle, on the other side of the family, on the Collins side, Michael Collins to be specific, he was a liar. That's all he said about him, was that he was a liar. I don't really remember much other than that he said about him, which generally means that there was something respectable about the individual, that he decided he wanted to, just keep it at that's what he was. He was part of the system, part of the problem, and therefore a liar. Now, if you need to look up my relation to Michael Collins from Apollo 11, you only need to look up my grandfather on my mom's side, so my mother's father, which is Brigadier General James Lawton Collins. It's kind of a confusing thing. Their father is also the same name, and there's a senior, a junior, and then there's my actual grandfather on that side of the family, so it's a really weird name that they go for. But anyways, that's freaking Michael's freaking brother, and therefore my grandfather's. So therefore, Michael Collins is my granddad. Without further ado, back onto that last little tidbit of information that my grandfather told me about, was Nazis. The Nazi scientists that we grabbed in order to use for our rocketry, he didn't grab a single fucking scientist. None of the Nazis that my grandfather grabbed were scientists. Every single one of them were aristocrats. They were Freemasons and Templars. That's all the fucking people he grabbed. They perpetuated lies. That was their job. As well as doing all kinds of other fucked up things in Nazi Germany, in the other countries to which they have occupied. So yes, to those out there who do believe a lot of the terrible things that happened during the Holocaust, yes, a lot of things did happen that were fucked up. But to those also who do not believe it, yes, you are right, a lot of that was a lie. A lot of it was bullshit. But to both of y'all, to both groups there, you must understand one huge significant thing. History has been written by these people. So regardless of what we can argue over, much of it is going to be a lie. Much of it. So please, 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 take everything with a grain of salt. Anyways, next subject. Non-human entities. He mentioned only a little bit about non-human entities. He mentioned that the moon is not in our possession. And that, I guess the way he tried to do it, he kind of danced around the subject. He's the type of individual who is a Christian, but he does not believe in preaching the Bible to people, because he, in his own words, you can bring a horse to water, but you cannot force them to drink. Else you will drown them, and they will learn to hate the water. So he didn't want me to hate Christianity at such a young age. So instead of teaching me it, he tried to explain the actual truth that was also in connection to that. So he would try to use other words for it, and he didn't really like to use alien, and he didn't like to use any of those other words, but he said non-human entities, or beings that are not like you or I, is how he liked to refer to them. Now, he said that these beings came from on high, and these beings have been throughout our history. These beings have mated with humanity before, and created giants. However, he also said that these same beings were also the reason why that certain empires rose and fell. It was by their command, at least somewhat. For the most part, for the rising, maybe not for the falling part. That's God's doing, in my opinion. But anyways, the point that he was trying to make to me was the concept of the cross. Power and authority, but also the concept of the bloodline. These beings are genetic geniuses, but they're psychopaths by nature. You cannot trust these things. I don't care what movies you see out there that try to make fucking aliens out to be like these loving, like, oh, we're so smart that we're good-hearted. No. They're psychopaths. They make you feel fear, because that's how they control you. Fear. They feed off of it, quite literally. He also said that giants still exist. Not in wide number, but they do exist, and primarily underneath the earth, as in what we know and understand as the earth. I do not believe he's seen giants, but I do believe he's seen the other things. And to be honest, out of all the things he's told me about, out of all the horrors he's seen, that subject was the only one that I've ever heard him stutter on and go white when talking about them. So I do believe that he was definitely very serious about that. Now, before I get too long into this video, there are many different individuals out there who will talk about such things. Those types of people you can go and talk to about these things, go and listen to. I highly suggest you go into it, especially if you're a Christian, because again, Satan does have children. He is one of the fallen. So let's be frank here. There are things that some would like to call aliens and others would like to call demons, but nonetheless, there's a middle ground, and it very much does exist. Moving on. Third topic. 5G and deepfakes. 5G is a problem. My grandfather even mentioned this. He said that there are ways that they can use signal in order to control people. I remember that when I was a child because I would tell him of some of the visions that I had. Some of which were, I saw people go insane and just become ravenous, but like, they would go in groups and attack other people. And sometimes even attack others, or even themselves. And they were trying to inflict pain. It wasn't like they were zombies like you see in the films. They were like, brains, like it wasn't anything like that. It was just, it's like it just imbue hate to the point where you can't even think for yourself. All you feel is just wrath, and you're just ripping everything you can to shreds, bashing it, hitting it, biting it, clawing it, just putting pain into another individual. That, he even said, that's a possibility. From the types of from the types of experience that he himself has seen, or at the very least he's read up in the documentation of the deep underground military bases, DUMBs for short, that there are ways that they can control people. If you could imagine having a game controller, 1v1, you can control one character pretty easily. But when you try to control multiple different people as one human being, it becomes a problem. And therefore, from what he explained, is it's like trying to control a group of piranha. So they fish and hunt together. And therefore, they also have the same intelligence collectively. So it's not like they're going to be very intelligent if they ever implement this thing. But on an individualistic scale, they are sinister. They have all the intelligence of the operator. And usually these types of people are psychopaths. So they're highly intelligent. Be forewarned on that one. Deepfakes. Last but not least. Deepfakes. He didn't exactly go into that topic too much. However, he said that is definitely something that was along their thought process. They wanted to make sure there would be a time frame where it would be too impossible for people to tell the difference between truth and falsehood, truth and lie, because they wanted to, if not be able to control what truth means to the public, make it so that discernment would be too difficult for people like you or me to be able to communicate it with each other, because we'd just be at each other's throats all the time saying, no, that's a lie, no, that's a lie, no, that's a lie, la 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 la, which is the reason why that he perpetuated the flat earth stuff. So again, to those out there who are flat earthers, that's kind of my stance on these things. Please don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now, with deepfakes, I would like to add, in those visions that I had, there was a time frame where I was trying to tell people things, but a lot of what I was end up trying to say would get changed, even without my doing. Sometimes during like what I'm doing right now, where I'm telling you something, and then after I finish it and upload it, it said something completely different. And oftentimes, it would make me out to look like a racist, or a sexist, or just a complete, asshole, So, I figured from this video right here, I'm going to tell you, all of you, I don't care about your vessel. I care about your soul. I don't care, black, white, Hispanic, you can be fucking purple, I don't give a shit. Your vessel does not compute your soul. Your soul does that. That is what I look for. And therefore, you cannot call me a racist. I mean, you can call me what you will. That is part of freedom of speech. But I'm going to tell you that you're fucking stupid if you think I'm a racist. Now, I don't care for sexism. Do I believe that there are certain roles for men and women? To a degree. But I also believe that if you are capable in something, then therefore, you're capable. You should not be restricted simply by your gender. You should be restricted by your capability. I don't want someone who would just be better as a taxi driver being a doctor or a surgeon. Okay? Same thing for coming to war. I wouldn't want someone weaker than me to fight next to me, because that means I have to worry about them. I also don't want to deal with someone who does not have the empathy, I should say, the lack thereof, or at least the control on their empathy, to not be able to kill another individual. Because if I'm going to be in combat, again, I'm a United States Marine, so I need to be able to comprehend these things. If my teammate cannot pull the trigger, that makes me possibly a potential, a target, a death individual. Because at this point, I'm worrying about them and myself. So now I'm split-minded, can't focus right, and I'm going to get myself killed, or this guy's going to get killed and get me killed in the process. Guy or girl. So, without further ado on that one, I don't care what you are. The only thing I care about is goodness and the truth. And of course, God. Aside from that, everything else can go to shit. I can't control anything else. I can't even control the truth. The truth is the truth. I wish to be broken by it and rebuilt by it. Just as I hope that you would want that as well. So, if you see any further videos, doesn't seem like this at all, there you go. Someone's already been messing with my shit. I'm not a bigot, so you see me looking like one, there's your sign. God bless.